Top 05 Most Overrated Tourist Attractions. 1. The Eiffel Tower, Paris. The official tagline for Paris' skeletal skyscraper is, "There's no feeling like it." And that's true, if that feeling is abject boredom mixed with regret at wasting several hours better spent elsewhere in the City of Lights. Hell, the ashen ruins of Notre Dame are more appealing. For starters, a single ticket providing top-level access to the Eiffel Tower is $30. But look. If you buy online, you can skip the line, unless some of the tower's other 16,000 daily visitors stumbled open this newfangled thing called the internet. Back of the line, mon ami, P.S., it's a cliché to say mon ami to a Frenchman. Instead say nothing at all. Rather climb 90 stories of stairs. Be my guest. But of course, once the waiting is over and you're up at the top, the view is breathtaking. Only it isn't. It's a park surrounded by endless, mostly gray buildings. But hey, just buy a flute of exceptionally overpriced champagne and take in the panoramic ennui. Like so many other urban for-the-view attractions, the Circle Line boat tour around Manhattan comes to mind. The Eiffel Tower sends tourists over a city they should be diving into. You're in Paris for God's sake. There's better things to do than look at rooftops. Suggested alternative, the Musée Picasso Paris is among the finest collections of the Spanish artist's extensive work, housing more than 5,000 paintings, sculptures, drawings, ceramics, prints and engravings. It's more digestible and less crowded than the Louvre, and offers far better views than the Eiffel Tower. 2. The Blue Mosque, Istanbul. Judging from its history, the Sultan Ahmet Camel, better known as the Blue Mosque, seems like an itinerary must. The 400-year-old, 13-dome, 8-minaret behemoth has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1985. And since it's an active house of worship, there's no admission charge. So kick off those shoes, and cover your heads, ladies, and let's step inside. Oh. Huh. It's just a big carpeted room with Middle Eastern-esque painted walls, some of which are blue. Unlike the intricate statues and luxuriant ornateness of many Christian, especially Catholic, churches, mosques, even the most famous ones, offer comparably fewer aesthetics. No pictures or busts of prominent Muslims, no grand organ, no gilded chalice holding the alcohol-infused blood of a deity. Instead, the Blue Mosque is a bunch of windows and patterns. It's beautiful and interesting for like 2 minutes. But once you're done looking around at the reason for its colorful nickname, its 20,000 handmade Iznik tiles, a turquoise ceramic, decorated with Turkey's familiar tulip pattern, it's just boring. Note, those truly enamored of Turkish interior design should instead visit the Topkapi Palace Harem. Suggested alternative, assuming you've already toured the nearby Hagia Sophia, well worth it, check out the Spice Market, Istanbul's cavernous covered bazaar dedicated to the region's culinary delights. Many stalls can vacuum pack spices to survive the plane ride home. 3. The London Eye, London. The mid-1990s decision to build what amounts to a permanent state fair installment on the bank of the Thames River probably went something like this. City official number 1, we're a world-class city and need to do something to mark the millennium. Any ideas? City official number 2, awkward pause, how about a big F***ing Ferris wheel? City official number 1, done and done. Here's £70 million. And go ruin the Big Ben Westminster Abbey skyline view while you're at it. Originally called the Millennium Wheel, the London Eye, which opened on December 31, 1999, is officially a cantilevered observation wheel. In fact, it's Europe's largest cantilevered observation deck, how's that for bragging rights? Despite basically being a £25 per person carnival ride in a city of incredible landmarks like the Tower of London and the British Museum, the London Eye, whose myriad detractors call it, what else, the London Eyesore, attracts about 3 million riders per year. That makes it the single most visited paid attraction in the entire United Kingdom. So either the British are tacky or the tourists are, perhaps they should start serving corn dogs and deep-fried Oreos at the ticket booth? Suggested alternative: skip the Ferris wheel and go below street level instead, to the Churchill War Rooms. Housing the underground nerve center where the British government directed World War II, as well as the adjacent Churchill Museum, the bunkers recall Londoners at their finest hour. 4 Times Square, New York City. If you are not going to a play or pickpocketing a tourist, please remove yourself from Times Square immediately. New York City's most famous place name is so devoid of anything interesting that a list of best things to do in Times Square is headlined by Bryant Park, which isn't in Times Square. The cheesy souvenir shops, disgusting chain restaurants and Disneyland-esque cartoon characters peddling $5 photo ops make the area's peep show and porn theater past look downright sophisticated. Oh, and there's a guitar-playing guy wearing a cowboy hat, boots, and underwear, and nothing else, who's been skulking around the area since the late 1990s. Can somebody #MeToo this guy already? Times Square suffers from a classic spillover problem. It's a neighborhood that has a legitimate purpose, theater, which in turn attracts secondary business catering to the tourists that flock to the theater. Today, though, Times Square's baseness is eating even the arts, as mass-market musicals that are essentially people dancing to Billy Joel or Green Day limit more deserving productions. Suggested alternatives: anything else, with the possible exception of Little Italy. Perhaps a few lesser-known museums? The Museum of the City of New York shows how Manhattan grew from its southern tip up. The Museum of Chinese in America is a great jumping-off point to explore Manhattan's last authentic ethnic neighborhood, Chinatown, while the New York Transit Museum is fittingly housed in an abandoned subway station in downtown Brooklyn. 5 Leaning Tower of Pisa. Many a visitor to Florence, Italy has made the fateful decision to book a day trip 100 kilometers west to the small city of Pisa, population 90,000. There, they looked at an old, slightly askew structure for a few minutes, and then did, what exactly? People don't pose for marginally amusing photos featuring the Leaning Tower of Pisa because they're actually funny. They pose for photos featuring the Leaning Tower of Pisa because there is absolutely nothing else to do in Pisa besides look at a 14th century bell tower with a 4-degree tilt. Want to climb it? Have fun. The handsome price of €17 buys the right to huff and puff up 300 stairs to the top of a building that is 18 stories tall. Not exactly scraping the clouds up there. Besides that, there is simply no reason to be in Pisa, especially considering its close but not too close proximity to Florence. Anyone visiting the region would be remiss to skip Florence and, once there amid unmissable attractions like the Florence Cathedral and its trademark dome, have no need to trek 100 km to a less impressive place to glimpse a 14th century construction error. Suggested alternatives: far more worthwhile day trips are available from Florence. For starters, wine tours abound since Florence is in the heart of Eiffel, Tuscany. Another option is Cinque Terre, an historic 5-village cliffside coastal area.